Welcome everybody to Train Tuesday. I'm your host Jim Wiggin, and goes without saying, we got some great stuff to show you tonight. Let's see who's joining us out there in virtual train world as I come into your workshops and see what you guys are working on. Let's see, we got Ibuprofen Dave right up. I could use some ibuprofen. We got Jamie, DG Model Works, Abel, Nicholas, Ronald, Derek, Mike, Darren, Tim, Forever DC 302, Forrest, Zach, Dave, and of course, Jay Cure. And he's excited about tonight's episode, and you'll see why in a little bit. But yeah, we've got some great stuff going on. We are going to be talking about Ready to Roll tonight. Plus, I've got something that you guys have been waiting for anxiously. And I think you'll be happy to see what I have in the studio this afternoon. So without further ado, let's do some more shout outs quick and get started. We've got Bradley, Frederick, Tom, John, Idaho Railfan, JLV Models, Dustin, MTG Squad, Stephen, John, Glenn, Ian. So hello, everybody. We got people here tonight from New Jersey, and I think I saw someone out there from Arkansas. Yeah, it looks like Randall's coming in from Arkansas. So great crowd tonight. Thanks for joining Train Tuesday, and hopefully you'll enjoy what we have in store for you. So let's do what we always do. Let's go ahead and assume the comfortable position in our workshop chair, put down the hobby knife, and grab the beverage of our choice. And let's get started with Train Tuesday. And why is Jay Cure so excited? This is why. So, a little bit of a story behind these. We originally were going to do these earlier, but for reasons of manufacturing and things of that nature, we just couldn't release them at that time. But we are happy to say that we are going to be, for pre-order for the month of February, talking about the Ready to Roll HO Scale 5-bay Rapid Discharge Hopper. And we're doing two types. We're doing both coal service and sugar beet service. Now, before we go on, and we'll go through each one thing to remember is we are offering these in a couple of different setups. The first one that I've got here, the Andersons in the white scheme. This one here, sugar beet service. It does come with extensions. Now these extensions are going to be added to a poly bag in the box. So you as the modeler, you're going to put those on. But that is something that a lot of you guys had requested, and it's kind of what makes a beet car a beet car. So all of those little extensions, all of the parts to put that together properly, they're going to be in the bag with the model. And the Andersons one here that we're showing first is no exception. Now the Andersons, the first one that we're showing you, the white one, is available as a single, but we're also offering it in 3 different 5-packs. Those 5-packs, each car has its own individual number. So real easy to make a unit trade out of these. So here's the single. Here's an example of the 5-pack. And again, both the single and the 5-pack come with all the extensions you need for sugar beet service. So here is the Andersons in red. This version here, and by the way, I should mention too, these are based on prototypes from 1992. Okay, so if you're modeling early to mid-90s, these cars are for you. The red version that we're showing here, we're going to do 1 single and 1 5-pack. Again, these will come with the extensions that you'll put on yourself. Here's the example of the 5-pack. Again, these are all individually, there's no repeats in road numbers. Okay, so we have the black as well. Again, Andersons. This is also 1992, and this is available, as you see here, as the single. And then we have 1 5-pack, and I'll show the 5-pack here. So you can make up a serious sugar beet train. I guess you could call it a sugar rush. These are cars that have been highly anticipated. You guys have been asking for them. I know there was some disappointment about a year ago, but fortunately our developers, they worked on some stuff, and now we're happy to offer these to you the way you guys wanted them. So we didn't do just the Andersons for Sugar Beet. We do have the Helm leasing, which I'll show that next. Now the Helm leasing does not include those extensions. Only the Anderson ones. This one does not. Again, this is Helm leasing. This is also appropriate for 1992. Now this one is being offered, as you can see here, as the single. We're doing 2 5-packs for this one here. Again, remember, there's no extensions with these guys. So there's your 5-pack. Now coming up next, here's the single. This is the Cape Breton and Central Nova Scotia. This is another one. It's Sugar Beet service, but no extensions. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, if you're wanting to be reminded of this, you can certainly go over to Athearn.com, go to the new announcements link, and look up the 5-bay Rapid Discharge Hoppers, and all the details are there. So you can make sure in case you forget. This is 1992 era, and this is the single. We're also offering this one in 1 5-car pack. So pretty exciting. You've got a wide range of Sugar Beet cars, pretty much from the early 90s, some with extensions, some without. We didn't stop there, though. We wanted to do some coal service, too. This goes back a little bit. This goes back to 1978. This is the Electric Fuels Corporation. Really cool logo on there. We're doing this one as a single, and we're also doing this one here in 2 different 5-packs. So here's the 5-packs. Again, 1978. I'm going to go back so we can zoom in on some of the details. 1978, so you're still going to have your ACI panels, your lube plates. All of this detail is packed in here. These are really nice cars. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for these. You have until Friday, February 25th. Place your order with your preferred dealer. And then last but not least, we've got the Georgia Power. And we're also offering that in a single as seen here, and 2 5-packs. This is appropriate as well for 1978. So let's show you the 5-pack. And the beauty about these 5-packs is not only do you have a savings in price, but you can make up a coal train or a sugar beet train and not have to worry about matching road numbers. They're all individual. They're all different road numbers. So there's no you don't have to sit there unless you want to buy multiple packs and re-decal those. But for the most part, we've tried to make it easy for you guys to make some decent unit trains. So sugar beet cars of the 1990s, coal cars of the 1970s. And like I said, the Anderson cars that we talked about earlier, those are for the sugar beet service, and they will include the etched upper extensions. And like I said, 5-packs are all unique road numbers. You don't have to worry about duplicates there. These things are really detailed. The guys spent a lot of work on these. And again, you're going to have your body mounted couplers. You're going to have your nice metal wheel sets. These are great right out of the box. Maybe a little bit of weathering, you're ready to go. They have the detail where they're needed, but they are ready to roll, which means they're perfect for taking to the shows that hopefully we're going to start going to again. So if you're in a modular club and you want to do a sugar beet train or a coal service train, this is for you. So let's see, zoom back here and see what you guys are saying here. I know Jay was pretty excited about this. My wallet is compromised. Yeah. I know what you mean. There you go. Will you be selling the loads and or extensions separately? Not at this time. That can always change, but currently we don't have it set up for that way. If we get enough demand, there's a possibility we might do that, but right now we're just offering what you see. Nothing available separately. So Fred's saying, I can remember the Holly cars from the 90s operating on the Modoc line. They were seriously need weathering. Most I remember resembled Rent-A-Wreck. So there you go. There's plenty of pictures out there, both published and on the internet, and especially those white ones. You're going to want to weather those. But other than that, they're pretty much ready to go right out of the box. And yes, they will come with loads, whether it be sugar beet or coal. They are included with those loads. The loads are removable, but and no, we don't plan on canceling on these. We are running full steam ahead. Yes, he is. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, I'm just kind of going through. A lot of guys are happy about the sugar beet cars. And yeah, again, we got a lot of requests for these. We got a lot of guys writing into our email saying that they really want these. These are right what you guys were asking. So if you're looking at the sugar beet cars, we're looking at 1992 on up. If you're looking at the coal cars, we're looking at 1978 on up. All right. And Mike's happy about that too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we wanted to provide that for you because it's not complete without it. It's kind of a thing that kind of sets those type of sugar beet cars apart from others. All right, so let's move on because I've got some more. Beet, not beat. Okay, semantics, Terry. You'll have to tell me in person how to say beet. Again, I'm from New England, so bear with me. All right, so what do we have next in the bag of tricks? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about intermodal tonight. So we're going to be releasing the 40-foot containers, and we're doing a few. You can always use these. These are extremely useful for not just modeling in general. We've talked about this at length in previous broadcasts, but for the next thing that we're going to talk about after these. So let's see what we got. Oh, Terry says not me, it's somebody else. I was like, man, okay, great. Sorry, Terry. My accent will get the best of me if you ever meet me in person. Okay, so let's see what we're doing this time. I mean, before I go on, I just want to just take a look at the detail we put into our containers. I am so glad I don't have to decal these. But these are the kind of details that, you know, if we don't put them on there, people will notice, especially modelers. And so this is the kind of detail we have. And a lot of folks think that containers are real inexpensive to make. They're actually not. There's a lot of work that goes into one of these, a lot of details, a lot of subtle details, and a lot of printing that goes into these. So here we go. Here we go for the pronouncers out there. I've heard this pronounced Hyundai, Hyundai, but we're going to be releasing this in a 3-pack, and everything that I'm going to show you right now is just available in a 3-pack. If you've got any questions on these, you can go to athearn.com, check out under the new announcements. And these are all 40 foot, so these are cool. I like these. The one high, we carry, we care. That's kind of cool. Of course, you know, if you're doing international shipments, you're going to have 20 and 40 foot containers. So these are ideal for that. So maybe you're modeling a little section of the former Santa Fe Transcon. Here you go. And then, of course, different numbers from what I showed you previously. Now, the pictures that I showed you at the beginning, that was from the last release a couple of years ago. We're doing same paint scheme, but slightly different numbering. That way there's no repeats. Yes, yeah, that is true. They're good looking, and the Hyundai ones, you see them all over. Somebody had a good question. Oh, Winona. You're saying decals? I thought that stuff was screen printed. Yes, you are correct. But if I had to do it, I would have to use decals, and my eyes are not what they were 20 years ago. So I will let our factory print those on rather than me to paint and decal them myself. But yes, you are correct. They are printed. And Dustin, I see your comment. I'm not going to put it on the screen, but please go to our Athearn product suggestions email and send that same information. I know our guys in development would like to read that. Jay Kerr says, I don't want Jim to drool. I got to see the numbers first before I could drool on them. All right. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. And again, I've told you before, while this is going on real time for you and you're seeing all the pictures and stuff, I'm going back and forth. And I might miss your comments. So there's a question you really are just dying to have answered on air. Just ask it again. I try to get as many as I can, but I don't always catch them all. Not on this run, Frederick. Not on this run, but it's a possibility in the future. You would be surprised. I work with some. I work with some guys that model modern containers, and yes, they do check that stuff. I realize not everybody does, but there are some prototype-minded folks out there, like our developers, that do notice those things. Okay. Some good comments here. I can't put all of them on the screen because there's so many good comments, but yeah, with the gator. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Of course, then again, in the wintertime, I don't do much rail fanning, so. All right. So, great. We got 40-foot containers. Got anything to go with those containers? Well, I'm glad you asked. We do. Now, these are pretty cool. These are the Maxi ones. And a little background on these guys. I found this kind of fascinating. When I got into rail fanning, Intermodal was still pretty, I wouldn't say it was real young, but this particular prototype was introduced around 85. And originally, these had bulkheads to them because in the early 80s, Shippers were a little nervous about having containers stacked on top of each other. Now the well is nice and deep, would fit a 40-foot container, and then another container on top of that. But this was new. This was a new era. Don't forget, it wasn't too long ago that we were securing tractor trailers onto flat cars with chain. So there were some in the industry that thought, you know what, 2 containers stacked up that tall, I don't know if I feel comfortable about that. So originally these had bulkheads on the end of the wells. And so instead of just relying on the locking devices on the containers, the bulkheads would kind of hold the upper container as well. But by 1985, the deep well cars like we see here were introduced, and they solely used the latching mechanisms on the containers. And the Maxi I's are one of the first real intermodal container cars. And we're offering these in the ready to roll. It's been a few years since we've offered these, but we're offering these in the ready to roll. And these are going to be good for late 1980s to 90s. And you can still see these occasionally. I think I was reading that there are still few of these out there. How active they are, I can't confirm. This was just based on something I was reading earlier this week. But we are happy to offer these in a couple of different road names, a couple of different dates. And yes, we have a Prime for Grime version. We're doing these Gunderson Maxi I Well cars in a 5-car set. So let's go ahead and see. Now this TTX set that I'm showing here, this is from a previous release. These are not the same cars that we're going to be showing. They're very similar, but different road names. So the first one that we have is the BN. These were all over the place. I remember seeing these quite a bit back in the day. This is 1988 on up. And again, this is a 5-car set. Now we're offering this in 3 different road numbers. And those 40-foot containers that I showed previously, those will fit in here no problem. 1988. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was. Now, for you Prime for Grime guys, this one's cool. I really like this. This is 1990s. This is Santa Fe leasing. We can see where it originally came from. It's pretty obvious. But like we've shown on the program before, patched out just like what they did. They had some blue paint. The original paint had faded out quite a bit. May have matched at one time, but that's not what the name of the game here is. They need to get their new reporting marks on there, new numbers, everything cataloged just the way they want. And so these are Santa Fe leasing. And again, this is 1990, so really cool setup. And I'm sure these are going to be very popular. These are going to be run in 3 different road numbers rather. Now we couldn't do this run without doing Southern Pacific. We had to do Southern Pacific. Right here, we're looking at 1988. We're doing this one in 2 different road numbers. And if you were rail fanning in the mid to late 80s into the 90s, I know you've probably got some of these, maybe even got some of these on some Kodachrome stashed away in your closet somewhere. How many remember these? I had all but forgotten about them. But the K-Line rail bridge, 3 different road numbers. 5-car set, 3 different road numbers. And then last but not least, we're going to offer the trailer train version here, the TTX, with the 40-foot Hap-Hang Lloyd containers, 40-foot containers. So as you can see here, you're going to have that set right there. So we've already built half of it for you. And this is 2000s. So if you guys doing BNSF, the last few years of SP. There you go. Some neat stuff. Now, one thing before I go on to the prices, again, I want to remind everybody that the prices that we show on our paperwork and on our website, they're an MSRP price. That's a suggested retail price. What you will pay through your dealer is up to your dealer. So these are just guidelines. So what I've shown you so far, the standard sets, the non-prime for grime 5-car set is $214.99. Your price at your dealer shop will be slightly lower. If you go with the prime for grime, the Santa Fe leasing, that one's slightly higher. That's $239.99. And then the set with the containers, the TTX with the Hang Lloyd containers, that's $249.99. So again, if you're interested in these, and it's been a little bit since we've run these, a few years, and they've been very popular in the past. So if you missed out on those a couple of years back and you want to get more, talk to your dealer before February 25th, place your pre-order. They tend to go fast when they do come in. So don't want to miss out on that. All right. Well, let's see. We got time for a few comments or questions. Let's see. Ron says, I would like to see something like this offered in the Genesis line. I'm sure our developers have thought of that too. Hybrid Hobby is with us tonight. If you've not seen his YouTube channel, I highly recommend going over to YouTube and look up Hybrid Hobby. He's done some great videos over there. He's saying, hey, good evening, everyone. Love the set with the containers. I will definitely have to pick up some of these. And if, like I said, if you watch his YouTube channel, he has access to a great club. He does all of his videos on that club layout. And yes, they will look great on that layout. Glenn's liking that Santa Fe leasing. Yeah, that's pretty cool, especially since it's prime for grime. The prime for grime always does well. I know I'm a fan of prime for grime. Let's see. Now I'm seeing some comments about the prices. Again, talk to your dealer. We have to set a standard. Talk to your dealer. Late Night Model Railroading says, I see some Santa Fe leasing sets in my future. You're going to have to get that layout bigger, because if I remember right, you've got a really cool switching layout, unless you've been working on a layout that I don't know about. Late Night Model Railroad's another guy that's got a great YouTube channel. If you're into any HO, N-scale, what have you, go check out his channel. It's definitely a lot of fun to watch. Any chance to do a Canadian container like Canadian Tire or Maritime Ontario or Armor, just to name a few? I think there's a possibility. Yeah. All right. Eric's wanting to know, how can you sign up for the newsletter and the survey? Well, the surveys, if you're, and Eric, looks like you're on Facebook, from time to time, and by the way, just a heads up, there's going to be some surveys going out this week before Friday. So be watching, pay attention on Facebook. We're going to have 2 surveys go out. N-scale guys, we're listening. So you N-scale guys that have been asking for N-scale stuff, be sure to watch our Facebook feed, because we're going to have a survey out there directed towards you guys. We've also got another survey coming out just for you guys that have purchased some previous Athearn locomotives or some previous releases. So those you're going to see on Facebook. Once in a while, we will send one through an email. Now you can go to our website, and if you, let me check over there real quick. It used to be on our homepage, but I just want to verify. Let's try. We used to have a sign up button here. And I just need to direct you to it. And it's probably looking right at me. Okay, on our homepage. So go to the homepage and scroll all the way down. And we're going to be updating that section too. You'll also notice we have a view scheduled events. That's going to be updated now that we are going back to shows. Happy to say we'll be going to, let's see, the Rocky Mountain Model Train Show in Colorado. That's coming up in April 2nd and 3rd. So that's coming right up. So, all right. So let's see what else I've got. That's everything that we talked about tonight. You've got till, like I said, Friday, February 25th to place your pre-orders. And next week, we're going to talk about some more ready to roll. Now, I do have some other things to share with you tonight. Let's see. So Rob Arsenault is no stranger to many of you guys. He's got a site, weathermytrains.com. And admittedly, his weathering is just, in my opinion, phenomenal. I'm going to share some pictures. He got an SD70 ACU recently, and he did some weathering. I'm going to share that with you guys. Check this out. This is gorgeous. Look him up over there on Facebook, weathermytrains.com. She just does a marvelous job on these. We posted this to Facebook, I believe, last night. Now, the thing I like about Rob's work is his weathering is, I don't want to say subtle, but his weathering is very realistic. I mean, we can admit, maybe even our own doing, we've sometimes weathered things a little bit too much. He does a great job of showing a locomotive that's in active service, is still well maintained, but it's going to have daily grime. It's no different than your car or truck, especially in the wintertime if you live in the Midwest. You know, it's been maintained and it's clean, but it's going to get salty and dirty and grungy. Here's a rear view of the SD70 ACU that he did. Just beautiful locomotive and just a great job with weathering. So Rob, thanks for sending those pictures in to us. And again, check him out. He's on Facebook. He's got a website, weathermytrains.com. Just phenomenal skills. Richard says, I'm pretty sure he miniaturizes real 1/1 stuff to HO scale and smaller. I don't know, maybe. In the right setting, you'd be hard-pressed to tell if that's a real locomotive or not. It's really nice. Certainly a neat service that he provides. Some people like to weather their stuff. Some people, for whatever reason, they don't, but they would like to. This gives a nice outlet to get your stuff done up. and he does it very prototypically. Again, his stuff in the right setting is you're hard pressed to tell if it's real or not. I agree. So speaking of SD70 ACUs, I've got some more things to share with you. So Ben of BA Rail Systems, he just did a review on the Athearn Genesis 2.0 SD70 ACU, and he's got the military unit as you see here. Brand new video. Now he's up in Canada, so sometimes it takes a little bit longer for supplies to get to him. He's in the beautiful north woods of Canada, and but he just completed this. We've shared it on Facebook, I believe, last Friday and again over the weekend. But if you haven't had a chance to look at Ben's channel, if you're really into the Canadian modern HO scale type models, this is the YouTube channel for you. He does a great job of not only reviewing predominantly Canadian models, but he's got some great layout updates. I'm somewhat jealous of his modeling skills, especially in tree making. Just absolutely phenomenal younger modeler. And it's BA Rail Systems. So go check him out on YouTube. I think you'll enjoy it. He has a really, really interesting layout, and he's very keen as to making it look like the prototype, not just in the locomotives and rolling stock, but the actual scenery and structures and such. And just a great job. But his review on the SD70 ACU, he talks about it here. Just an impressive locomotive. Now, somebody else that did a review recently, and somebody I know you've probably heard of or seen his channel before, and that is James Wright. Now, if you follow James' channel, he's one of the bigger YouTube channels out there for model railroading. He's recently, within the last year, he's moved. He's got a new home, and he's building a really, really cool HO scale layout. And he's also, for those that are thinking about building a layout but are somewhat overwhelmed with everything that has to be done, check out his channel and check out Train World. They're doing a series of videos on him building the layout. This will obviously help him with his reviews, but as we can see here, James is reviewing the SD70 ACU, and he reviews both the Canadian Pacific versions as well as the Norfolk Southern versions. And it's a very comprehensive review. He does pull tests. He goes over all the details. It's about I think it's about a 20-minute video. Yeah, just under 20 minutes, but very detailed review. Highly recommend to go over to his channel. Now, his channel is, it's kind of a, it's a little bit different. And the story behind it is he's been doing this for close to 20 years, if not 20 years. But the name of his channel is JLWII 2000. And I've kind of minimized the screen there so you can kind of see that. You can zoom in on that. Yeah. So both Ben and James, they've done a great job on the review of these models. And I want to thank those guys for doing those reviews. Great stuff. So I got time, just enough time to show you one more thing. I've got something here in the studio. Let's see. Well, let's just go over to the camera and see what we got. So far we don't have anything. Let's get some sound. Start taking some guesses as to what you guys think it is. Anything? All right, let's see if I can get something in the... Bring it in nice and slow. It's so big, even in HO, I had to really play around with the camera to get it to fit. Now, Mike, I see you, and that's the first thing that I wanted to do was play with the siren. I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. I just got this thing in, and I have not had a chance to play with that yet, but guarantee you this. Expect to see this on the Athearn Live for this month, and we're going to play with that siren. We will definitely play with that siren. Now, you don't have to be a UP guy, but this is just a cool locomotive. Now, you can't see it because of the studio lighting, but the beacon is lit up. You dim the headlight. And when you dim the headlight, function number 7, you also get some scanner. That's okay. You can justify it somehow. It's your railroad. So Christopher, yes, I know a lot of you guys have been asking about these. They're showing late February. We're still on point to have these late February. Now, keep in mind, it looks like we've gotten through the worst of the shipping delays, but there could still be some snags here and there. So we're trying to monitor it as close as we can because we know a lot of you guys are waiting for these. And, you know, barring any problems in shipping, we should have these by late February. Yeah, I'm looking forward to these. That's cool. I know there's one of these up at the first time I saw one of these in person, I couldn't believe it. It's just such a big locomotive. Technically 2 locomotives. Well, maybe. So yeah. Awesome locomotive. Great detail. We've snuck a few pictures out there so far, but this one is a production sample. And like I said, that Thunderbolt siren that's on the cab, yeah, I'm going to figure out how that thing fires up, and we'll do a video on it. Trust me. Good question, Frederick. What is that siren for? Let me go back to the picture while we answer that. So up there, you'll see the siren. This was an experimental project that UP did back in the 60s. If you grew up like me in the Cold War era, you had these things called air raid sirens. If you live in the Midwest now, some of those have been changed into tornado sirens. But back in the day, Federal Signal made a Thunderbolt siren, and they were pretty ubiquitous to many towns after World War II throughout until they were finally retired. And they were a early warning device basically for the Cold War. UP was experimenting with some grade crossing techniques, and they figured, hey, you know what? Let's go to Federal Signal and see what they can do for us. And so they made a modified version of the Thunderbolt air raid siren. The horn that you see there is a little bit different than what you would have seen on your standard air raid siren. It was made flatter for the cab of the locomotive. They only did this to a couple of these locomotives, and it wasn't really a success. They did some tests with it, and yes, just like a regular air raid siren, there was a compressor that would run a series of choppers and produce the very distinct Thunderbolt siren sound, but it was not really a success, and so they abandoned it. By the 1970s, these were off the units, but it's still kind of a cool prototype moment. I mean, many of you probably know about the rather extensive railroad crossing that incorporated a air raid siren that's no longer around. But UP actually put this on a few of their locomotives on the DD40AXs. Good question. Although with one thing I can tell you from experience, standing underneath a Thunderbolt, the sound is directed pretty good. So, but I'm still sure that they were loud. The Thunderbolt, if I remember correctly, was 120 decibels. Pretty good for what they call a mechanical siren. Yeah, a lot of us remember those. Yeah, we actually have a few here in Illinois. So kind of a cool thing, and it's one of the things that makes our hobby so interesting, is the prototype did interesting things, and then we get to model those interesting things. And this is one of those bizarre things. Unless we had prototype research to prove it, people would think, no, only the Blues Brothers put an air raid siren on a vehicle. No, UP did it before the Blues Brothers. So there you go. I got time for a few questions, and then we're going to pull the pin on this episode. Glad you guys are excited about everything that we're talking about here tonight. There's a lot of great stuff that's due into hobby shops in the next few weeks. So if you pre-ordered like the DD40AX, you'll probably be getting a call from your dealer soon. GP9s, they have been backdated a little bit. We're looking at March. I know I'm one of those that's eagerly awaiting my GP9s, but we're looking at about March for those. Not so much of a question, more of a request. Jason says, Genesis Superliners? I'm sure something's going to develop. Is there any Southern ready-to-roll stuff in the works? I don't think this month we do. And honestly, I don't know of anything coming right up. We are working on some via P42s. We haven't made any formal announcements yet, but we are working on stuff. You guys probably saw a post that we posted earlier in the week, actually last week, requesting some information. So we're working on stuff. Stan, I'm going to assume, since we talked about the ones that just got released, you're probably asking for future releases. And if you're probably asking about the D-Day 6644 and those, it's pretty safe that we're going to be coming out with those in the future. When, I don't know yet, but we'll be doing more of the SD70 ACUs. Late Night says he's looking forward to more of what Athearn has to offer. My next layout will be room size, so I need to fill it with my. So yeah, you need to decide what area you're going to model and what part of the country and things of that nature, and that'll help you a little bit. Let's see. I would say, yeah, 45s. I would say probably, yeah, they would be late February. They would be late February, same time as the DD40AXs. Let's see. I'm going to go back a little bit in case I missed something. Robert's got a question. I was in my hobby shop and saw Athearn detail parts. Could you talk about the line in the future? Well, I mean, we have offered some detail parts. However, going forward, we won't be offering detail parts like some companies do. There are some companies out there, both in HO and N, they offer, different horns, different bells, different detail parts. We're going to offer them separately packaged and for sale? No. And the reason why is because we've talked about it on the episode prior to this. Especially with the Genesis locomotives, they are pretty much custom runs. So let's bring the GP9s that we just were talking about earlier. The Canadian Pacific GP9s are going to be distinctly different from the L&N GP9s. There might be torpedo tubes on the one prototype, whereas the other one does not, or winterization hatches on one, where the other one does not have that. Those parts aren't going to be available separately. Now, we do have service parts. So should you get a Genesis or any locomotive freight car that somehow was damaged in shipping, or the part just decided to liberate itself from your model, you can contact our service department. We have enough parts to cover those runs. But keep in mind, those are custom runs. They're not just a mass produced. In the old days of Athearn, a GP9 was a GP9 was a GP9. Nowadays, we have GP9s and other prototypes that are based on a specific prototype. And when we talk Genesis, it's right down to the road number. So we only have enough to cover a certain length of time. If it's 10 years down the road, your chances are pretty slim. We might still have those detail parts. But I know that's kind of a long answer, but wanted to kind of describe to you why we're not doing detail parts as a sellable item. We've done some of those. Will we do some more? There's a possibility. We did about at least 2 that I remember of the regular red CP SD70 ACUs. As far as I know, barring any serious delays, as far as I know, yes, August still looks good. Let's see. I got time for maybe 2 more questions. Yes. We don't have them planned yet, but they will be in the future. We will definitely have developers on an upcoming Athearn Live. We've got some exciting stuff coming out in the next few months, and it's taking everything in my power not to tell you what's coming out. It's like a kid in a candy store right now. I can't wait to see the reaction that you guys are going to have when you see what we have coming out in the next few months. And a lot of this stuff is brand new. We've never done it before. So yeah, anything like that, we're going to have the developers on board just so we can give you an idea what it takes to do this type of stuff. But good question. Let's see. Yeah, Southern 6900. I hear you. I also miss the days of the Ford Falcon. But just saying. There's nothing wrong with those. The good news is we can still find those. I don't know about your area, but once we start going to train shows again, we can still find those. I love reading some of your comments. Jason says, come on, Jim, we won't tell. Yeah, right. I'll say it and it'll be on the Atlas recovery forum by tomorrow morning. So when is the next Athearn Live? We've yet to schedule that. Now, one of the things that you want to do, Train Tuesday is consistent. Every Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Train Tuesday comes to you. Our Athearn Lives are typically on a Friday night at 7, but it's not always the same weekend. It just depends on who I have coming on the program with me. Now, last month I had Derek Glass from DG Model Works, and I had Tony Cook from White River. Their schedules coincided just perfectly for what we were talking about. So this month, we'll have some new guests, and we'll be talking about the GP18s, which I'm really excited about, the GP50s, and a lot of the other things in this month's release. As soon as we know when that's all together, watch your Facebook, watch YouTube. We will post and say when the next Athearn Extra Live is going to be live. A lot of good suggestions here. I'm not reading them all. I'm just reading them on my screen. And like I said, if it's a new project or some new road names in a current release that we have, go to our athearn.com, contact us, and the product suggestion email. It is a direct ear to developers. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Send that email. The developers do read them. They do collect those. They will not always respond to you, so don't be offended if we don't respond to you. It's a collective, it's a collection point. And some of the stuff that you're seeing in the last few months that we've offered has been directly because of you guys emailing us and also answering our surveys. All right. Well, there we go. We went a little long tonight. There was so much good stuff to show. I want to thank you guys for having me in your workshop tonight. Hopefully you're latest layout project or modeling project's going well, and we're getting you psyched. Winter, for most of us in this part of the world, is the perfect time to do some modeling. I think I've got just enough time to get home and maybe run the GP15 a little bit. But until next time, we will be back Tuesday next week talking about some more ready to roll items. Be on the lookout for our Athearn live feed, the Athearn Extra. And if you haven't done so far, go on over to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notifications for when your favorite Athearn videos go live. Until next time, everybody, be happy, be safe, and above all, high greens, everyone.